I thought the doctor I lived with wanted to kill me until I read what he wrote in his will. I was convinced I was going to die before the end of the month. Not from a disease, not from an accident, but from the man who brought me soup when I had a fever. Sounds insane, I know. But when you're an Omega without a pack, living in a city where people lock their doors even in the daylight, trust doesn't come easily, especially not with a man like Dr. Ellis Kane. He was my roommate, or more accurately, I was renting a room in the apartment he owned. A beta, cold, reserved, brilliant, and completely unreadable. I only moved in because rent was dirt cheap, and I had nowhere else to go after I ran from a toxic alpha relationship in Chicago. Ellis never asked questions. He just let me in. At first, it was quiet coexistence. Two strangers in the same space. But then things began to shift. Subtle, almost imperceptible changes. The food in the fridge was labeled with my name. My favorite tea suddenly appeared in the cupboard. He once fixed the loose drawer in my room while I was gone, didn't even tell me. I only noticed because it stopped creaking. But it was the way he watched me that scared me most. Not in a lecherous way. No, it was worse. He watched me like I was fading. Like every time I walked into the room, he was seeing a ghost. And then I found the pills. A bottle of them hidden in the cabinet under the sink. Unmarked. When I Googled the name of the medication, my stomach dropped. An Omega tranquilizer. High dose. Not sold over the counter. Why would a beta Dr. Me roommate have that? He didn't see Omega patients. He worked in cardiothoracic surgery. And he didn't have a mate. At least, I didn't think he did. From that moment on, I began to document everything. The way he always double-checked the locks. The way he hovered near my door at night. The way he kept watching me eat like he was waiting for something. I started skipping dinner. Leaving the apartment earlier. Keeping a knife under my pillow. I even texted my friend Mina a code word. Dandelion. If I ever sent it, she'd call the police. And then came the night of the power outage. It was raining hard. The kind of storm that made the lights flicker like dying fireflies. I was curled on the couch with a book, pretending to read, when he came home early. Wet coat, hair a mess, eyes darker than usual. "I need to talk to you," he said. I stood up so fast I knocked over my tea. "No, thank you," I replied, backing away. He frowned. "Rory." I bolted to my room, slammed the door, and locked it. I barely slept. The next morning he was gone. And he didn't come back. Not that day. Not the next. Not the one after that. I thought he'd given up on whatever plan he had. Maybe I scared him off. But then a letter arrived. No return address. Just my Namery Lane scrawled in his careful, slanted handwriting. Inside was a key. And a will. I nearly threw up reading the first line. "If you are reading this, then I have passed. I'm sorry I never had the courage to say any of this while I was alive." I froze, my fingers trembling. "Rory, I never meant to scare you. I know I did. I saw it in your eyes. You thought I was going to hurt you. The truth is, I've been trying to save you." There were pages, 3 of them, each one more unbearable than the last. He told me about the tumor in his brain, about how he had 3 months left, maybe less, about how he'd spent every spare second researching treatments, not for himself but for me. "You never told me what your previous alpha did to you, but I saw the damage, the night terrors, the bruises you didn't think I noticed, the way you'd flinch if I got too close. I thought if I could create a safe space for you, maybe you'd start healing. Maybe I could too." I sank to the floor, letter clutched to my chest like it was the only thing keeping me breathing. Then came the final paragraph. "Everything I have is yours. My apartment, my savings, the research I couldn't finish. I never said it aloud because I didn't think I had the right, but I loved you. From the moment you spilled coffee on my medical journals and apologized like a child expecting punishment, I loved you. I hope that somehow you'll forgive me for never saying it when it mattered." I went numb. I don't remember calling Mina. Don't remember sobbing on her kitchen floor. But I do remember the funeral. Small, quiet, a few colleagues from the hospital. No family, no alphas, no omegas, just me. I brought lilies. He once told me they were the only flowers that smelled like silence. I stared at the casket, half expecting him to sit up and call this some elaborate social experiment. But he didn't. He just stayed still, cold, gone. I moved back into the apartment. Took me 2 weeks to open the drawer in his bedroom. Inside, I found a collection of items that made my throat close. A photo of me laughing at the kitchen table. My chipped mug. A printed-out recipe for my favorite soup. And beneath it all, a ring box. Inside was a note. For a day that will never come. I didn't cry then. I just lay on the floor and whispered. I would have said yes. Weeks passed. I got a job at a nearby clinic. Started helping Omega youths in shelters. Somewhere along the way, I began sleeping through the night. I smiled again. And the non-ordinary afternoon I received an envelope. No name. Inside was a single sheet. Page 47. Look again. I ran to the bookshelf. Pulled out his old research binder. Page 47. There tucked between pages was a flash drive. I plugged it in. What loaded wasn't a research file. It was a video. His face filled the screen. Pale. Sick. But smiling. Hey Rory, he said, voice low and shaky. If you found this, you read the will. You know I'm gone. But I couldn't leave without seeing you smile one more time. So here's a stupid joke. He cleared his throat. What do you call a beta who falls in love with an omega too scared to love him back? I held my breath. A coward. But one who'd do it all again. He laughed weakly. I hope you're okay. I hope you know I meant every word. I hope you love again. And then, I'll be waiting. Not in a creepy way. Just in whatever comes after. The screen faded. I sat in silence. The city roared outside, alive and merciless. But inside that little apartment, something felt warm. Whole. I still talk to him sometimes. In the quiet. In the light between waking and sleep. And I tell him this. You weren't a coward. You were just in love. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.